Hi, Randy Bachman. Nice to hear from you on the phone. Welcome back to KSHE.
Thank you. It's great to be talking to you after so many years.
I know. I was reflecting on the last time I interviewed you, which was a million years ago, and I do not expect you to remember this at all because I imagine you've done a lot of press. But about 10 years ago, my co-host John Hewlett and I were interviewing you on our morning show, and we were asking you about the pronunciation of your last name because for so long we had heard it two ways, obviously Bachman-Turner Overdrive, but then we also heard it was Randy Bachman. So you were talking to us about that.
Yeah, I remember that. That comes up a lot.
I bet it does. How are you doing? You're on the road. How's the tour been going so far?
It's been very amazing. Last night we were in Dallas, and everywhere we've been, it's like 1975.
Really? Why?
Everybody is going nuts over classic rock. I think they're sick of rap and hip hop. All country music sounds the same. The same twangy voice and everything, and the same studio musicians. And classic rock is all different because we all played in our own bands and had our own sound and wrote our own songs, and they are just going crazy. A lot of our gigs are with Jefferson Starship. Mm-hmm. We've done 38 Special in Canada. We toured with April Wine and the Headpins. Every band I've known where the guys are still, active and alive and still can play, and are booked solid. People are loving live music again, and rock and roll.
It is amazing. And I was looking at your set list from a couple nights ago. I mean, obviously this show that's coming up this weekend at Family Arena, you mentioned April Wine. We have Zebra opening things up, which, my goodness, what a classic band for KSHE 95 and fans here in St. Louis. Then you're getting into April Wine. Then you come on, and it's not just BTO. You're also playing a ton of Guess Who.
Well, and so many fans, they look at, don't forget the first band you played in, when you wrote all the songs with Burton Cummings.
Right.
And so we do a Guess Who medley of about, it starts with These Eyes Laughing, She's Coming Down, No Sugar Tonight, and then we wait, and then we do American Woman later on in the set. So we basically do them all, and the crowd gives us a standing ovation for those songs. And then we run through the guests, all the BTO songs, album cuts. People are asking for album cuts that we actually have never played on stage. Because in the mid-'70s, you put out so many albums, mm-hmm. You can't play everything. You only get airplay on a certain amount of songs. But the fans really like certain album cuts. So we're having a hard time squeezing it into 90 minutes.
Right.
Some guy wants 75 minutes. We can't even do that. So we do about 95 minutes, and even then we're leaving out a good 5 or 6 or 7 songs that people really want. And when we're sharing the night with someone, everybody's on a time restriction. Like, you got to get off stage and get on, and the crew's got to move all your gear around. Where it's outdoors and we're on our own, sometimes we just play longer. Like I used to be touring with Led Zeppelin. They would play 4 songs that would take 2 hours because they would jam in the middle and everything. Those are really the great days, and people loved it. And people are loving it again. It's very surprising. And I'm playing to 3 generations of people. I see teenagers out there, and then their parents who are maybe in their 40s, and then the grandparents who are maybe in their 60s, and they all know the songs. And it's such a renaissance. It's really incredible.
I love that perspective of the generations because as people know your history, leaving the Guess Who to form eventually Bachman-Turner Overdrive with your brothers, you had a focus of family. And so to me, I imagine music, especially the music you've written and the music that you loved going through the generations of yourself, family and music go hand in hand to you. So, I mean, to have that perspective of multiple levels of a family coming out to see the music that you've created over your entire career has to be really symbolic.
It is. And, I lost my brothers in the last 3 years, so they're gone.
Yes.
But my son, Cal, who obviously grew up with the music, is just automatically in the band, singing, playing guitar, and singing a lot of the songs with me. And my drummer couldn't tour anymore. He married a Japanese lady who, I'm telling you, played drums like a mixture of my brother Robbie and John Bonham from Led Zeppelin.
Oh my goodness.
Our drums are so heavy. We are so heavy now. It's like early BTO. The crowd is just blown away. And her name's Coco. And Coco is like 5 feet tall. She's a little Japanese, beautiful lady with a ton of hair. Like hair
God.
like your hair down past her shoulders, all curly and flippy. And she just plays it up. I mean, a lot, it's like somebody playing air drums, but she's really playing the drums, and it's fantastic.
She's probably a show stealer. I imagine people aren't ready for a 5 foot tall woman to come back there behind that kit and just knock them out. That's awesome. I love that.
Yeah. When we start, it's in the dark. We're all lit quietly in the dark, and then it comes up with an announcement, which actually is from St. Louis. We've got Ray Compton, who used to yell, "Are you ready? Are you ready?" From Vancouver, Bachman, Turner, and everybody cheers, and we start to play. At the end, we do the encore, and she runs up. I'm the bow, and she comes up to the bow. They go, "What?" The calendar is like 6'2". She's 5 feet tall.
That is awesome.
This little person comes up, and they're going, "Wow!" So they're calling her Boom Boom, Coco Boom Boom Bachman, the Rolling Thunder drummer. It's very amazing. She loves it.
That is fantastic. You mentioned Tal. I mean, what a cool thing for you to have your son out on the road with you like this.
Yeah, when he does She's So High, the crowd goes crazy because it's from the late 90s. So we're doing stuff from the late 60s, the mid-70s, and then the late 90s with She's So High. And everybody's going, wow, there's like generations of classic rock here that are incredible. And they've got a new baby. They've been married about 2 years, and the baby's like 8 months. So we bring the little baby on for the encore. She's wearing pink headphones, and she has chopsticks, and she plays air drums. She's only 8 months old, but she knows what's going on, and the crowd goes crazy because every guy I know out there who used to be a big, rough biker trucker eventually has a baby, and they're a daddy, and they get the soft spot of them, and so they all love it that we're taking a baby on stage, and she rocks. It's just fantastic.
That's adorable. I remember when the song She's So High came out. I mean, I'm 40 years old, so your son, that song was in one of the rom-coms in the late 90s, 1999, and I was like, what is this? And then when I learned that Randy Bachman was his dad, even as a young person, I was like, that is so cool, that this kid is out playing his own music, and it was very different from what, he probably grew up around watching his dad create some of the most legendary classic rock of all time, which I don't know if you do this every night, but as I was looking at one of your set lists, you do a mashup of AC/DC and Free and the Stones. Is that something that you do every night, or was that a special one-off thing?
No, we do that every night. It's turned into a ritual because all the fans, there's a web now. There's no MTV anymore. Okay, we don't need that. We've got a web of fans that all connect on these websites with each other, or they go to btoband.com. And I always say, okay, I'll say we're in St. Louis. Do you guys watch AGT, America's Got Talent? Because I watch it all the time. And they go, yeah. I say, okay, tonight is St. Louis Talent. We're going to stop performing. We're going to be the band. We're going to do a mashup. And when we hit a song that touches your heart and soul, you've been out there all night playing air drums, air guitar, dancing, singing. Now we've told security, relax. You can come up to the front and sing like nobody's listening, dance like nobody's watching. When we hit a song that touches your heart and soul, because that's why we're here, go crazy. Are you ready to rock? And they go nuts. And we do everything from AC/DC to we start with Hey You, the BTO song, and then we're into Honky Tonk Women and All Right Now, and holy cow, just take the old records off the shelf. We go nuts when we do those songs.
Yes. Oh, I love a mashup, and I also love when bands do covers. I know that's kind of faux pas. Most people are like, no, play the original stuff. But to me, there's nothing like an established artist or band playing another established artist or band's music because it is done in its own way. Like Bad Company, who's getting ready to get inducted this fall to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. There's an album coming out that is all covers of Bad Company with Paul Rodgers being on it, but also bands like The Struts or Slash is on there, making it their own. And I just think that's incredible, So I happen to love that you guys do that mashup every night, and it's a way to get the crowd even more involved than you do.
It is, because we play about 18 or 20 hits of our own, and then to throw in just a chorus and a little short verse and a chorus where everybody can sing. because classic rock is all about singing the chorus. That's what it is. It's great music. Like in jazz, you can't sing along. There's a payoff line.
Mm-hmm.
But in rock and roll, you can sing forever. Taking care of business, taking care of business. You know what I mean? Or all right now, baby, it's all right now. You just sing it over and over, and it becomes a tribal kind of anthem kind of thing, and it's really a lot of fun.
Right. I happen to love you. You spoke out recently about bands touring with not all of the original members because in some cases people have passed away or bands break up and kind of go on to do their own thing. I liked what you said about bands still getting out there and how, really like what do people expect? Like, you're in your 80s, correct? I don't know your exact age, but you've been doing this.
I'm 63. Yeah.
Yeah. I was thinking, I was like, you've been doing this for so long. Like, and obviously with the passing of your brothers, which I am very sorry to hear about that. But you are still out here doing it because this is what you've done your whole life. And I am a huge advocate for bands continuing on as much as they want, whether they want to do it and like the Stones where they're going until they're all gone essentially, or, like Black Sabbath, who recently lost Ozzy, where, they decided one and done, that's it. I don't think there's a real right or wrong way to be a rock and roller and age, even though I feel like a lot of us fans of rock and roll, we feel like you guys are immortal, that you'll last forever. It's just not the case. We're all human.
Well, the music lasts forever, and I'm working a song right now. And I've heard it said before, we're now too old to die young. The saying used to be, I hope I die before I get old. Remember, in my generation, now it's, I'm too old to die young. There's so many things that need to be done. I'm still having a lot of fun, and I'm too old to die young. And we all are. We all want to keep rocking and rolling. And but last night I walked out and I said, is this the 70s? They went, yeah. Do you guys want to rock? Yeah. Do you hate rap? Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It's like amazing. It's a rebellion of people saying this is what we like.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Never mind what is being pushed on us. We don't want 20 bands that wear cowboy hats that sound the same out of Nashville. They all sound the same. Every classic rock band was a reflection of where they grew up, whether it was Aerosmith in Boston or ZZ Top in Texas or whoever it was, or us up in Canada. You play your ethnicity song because you grow up if your parents are Irish or Scottish or German or whatever, you hear those songs and that becomes part of you. And then whatever age you started listening to rock and roll, and I was lucky enough that it was like Elvis, then the Beatles, then the power trios of Hendrix and, Cream and everything. So I've gone through it all and all the harmonies of the Beach Boys and everything. It's just, I really feel blessed that I was born at the right time and have grown up with rock and roll and been able to create some of it with the guests who with Burton Cummings and with Fred Turner and BTO. I really feel like this is my mission. People say, why are you still doing this? And I say, because I have no life. They go, what? They go, well, basically, there's a song on Not Fragile. That's the third song in the set. When I do Rock Is My Life. And the crowd goes nuts because I say in the middle, is rock your life? And they go, yeah.
Yes.
Are you all rock? Yeah, we're all rockers. It's really amazing. Like rock and roll has endured. And thank God for classic rock radio. I only wish that they would play new songs because we're doing a new BTO album. There's a new Doobie album. Hart has a new album. Steve Miller has a new album. And like the old days, if the radio stations were smart, they would say, here's Steve Miller then, here's Steve Miller now, and play him now. And by the way, we're presenting him next week at the big arch in St. Louis or whatever, or something park, and come on out, and then come out and introduce us on stage like you used to do and say, KSHE presents BTO, that kind of thing. Boom. And then the 70s are really back. I remember we would drive into town with a new record, go right to the radio station, go in, the guy would play it.
Yes.
Now you've got to go to a corporation, and the people don't own the radio anymore. Big corporations have bought them, just like the record labels. There's no individuality left anymore, and that's why I think classic rock's so good. There's individuality in every band. You could put your 10 favorite classic rock songs. They're all different from each other.
I agree.
If you pick 10 country songs, they're all the same. You take 10 rap songs, they're all the same.
I agree with you about the radio stations playing new music from classic rock artists because we just don't. And people always ask us, like, why not? And I think it's a trifold. I think in some ways bands have gotten, because like I'm 40, okay? So I've worked at KSHE for almost 20 years. And within that amount of time, Randy, I have seen the amount of bands that we support. Like, we don't get rock stars coming into KSHE radio like back in the 70s. And honestly, I think that really screwed a lot of artists. Like we do the phoners, we do Zoom. Alice Cooper came in last week and because he was in town and we play his Alice's Attic. But like getting bands that are of a certain caliber back into the studio to nurture those relationships like you did in the 70s, it's just like this weird push and pull because bands are like, we don't need radio as much as we did in the 70s because there's so many options now. And I'm with you on, I wish radio stations would play the new stuff. I wish the fans would buy the new stuff and support the new stuff when it comes out. And I also wish artists would, get their butts back into the studio, on video, in person, having these relationships, these moments where you got fans lined up outside KSHE hoping to snag an autograph from Randy Bachman, because you're walking out. I mean, I miss that completely.
I would speak for every band that if radio was playing a new track from a new album, they would be in the station. We all know there's a captive audience between 6:30 in the morning and 9:30 in the morning, and between 4 and 6 at night that nobody else could get to except radio. When everyone's in their car going to work or school or coming home from work or school, you have a captive audience. I do a lot of morning drives just because of that. Just say, hello, Randy Bachman, I'm coming into town. Please come out to the show. We will rock your brains out like we used to do. And it's fantastic. And everybody will come.
Yeah, we have to experiment, Randy. We'll have to see how that goes. Because I feel like people, and this would be a great question for you because you are an artist. The perspective of people buying albums anymore, it's like, people are doing this thing now, like bands are doing this thing now where they release one track a week for 10 weeks rather than put out a full record at one swoop. What do you think about that? Do you think the kind of dribble of track after track for new music or still putting out a full record, which is most impactful that you've seen in your career?
What is missing is the record store. In the middle of the set, I say, does anybody out there remember an evening of going to a record store? They all go, yeah. So you walked in and you didn't know what you were going to do. You saw a piece of art that was 1 foot square, that was a phenomenal picture or album cover, and you took it home. You didn't even know what was in it.
Yeah.
Then you took out the record and played it, and it had the lyrics inside, and you sang along, and you learned to love this band, and you listened to it every night. Then you traded the album like you used to trade comic books with it when you were a kid. And you fell in love with the band and the music, or you went specifically to buy the new Zeppelin album or something. Nobody does that anymore.
I know.
Nobody has an attention span of over 3 or 4 minutes.
I know.
What I do now is I just pull out a turntable and I have like 20,000 albums that I've collected over the years. We sit every night after dinner and maybe play cribbage or something, cards, or gin rummy or something, and put on a Zeppelin album or a Yes album and listen to every single song and really get into the band.
Yes.
It's really incredible.
I think that is incredible.
And people are starting to do that again. And it all came from the mafia shutting down the record stores, shutting down vinyl, putting everything out in CD again, and CD players, and you have to buy the same album again. And except for buying it for $3.98, you bought it for $19. I mean, you bought it, the plastic cover broke off it, and you had to put a new one on. You know what I mean? It was like, and the record stores had to retool from 12.5-inch boxes to put the albums in to little 6-inch ones to put it. Now they're all retooling and going back to albums again.
Yeah.
Albums that used to sell for $3.98 are now, you have to buy an old BTO album now for $40 to $50. We're going to release all the stuff again. It's all coming back to us. The copyrights are over. Starting this year, next year, I'm getting all the material back. I'm remixing and remastering BTO like Jimmy Page keeps doing. More Zeppelin, more Zeppelin, more Zeppelin. We're all out of Zeppelin, but he keeps repackaging it and we keep buying it. Same with AC/DC. There's nothing like classic rock and holding an album. Coming out next year, I've got BTO Live at the Budokan, 1976, 18 songs. And at that time, we were the #1 band in the world with Not Fragile and You Ain't Seen Nothing Yet. When those things come out, the fans are going nuts over it.
Well, younger people are buying CDs again and vinyl again because they're and movies like DVDs because they're realizing they don't own anything. You know, everything is up in the cloud and on streaming. And so that's not a tangible thing that people can actually have a collection of. And God forbid something ever happened to your phone or the internet and then it's all gone. What are you left with? So I think you're onto something about re-releasing and having people go into the record store and kind of rejuvenating that sort of culture of listening to music from front to back instead of, you know, singles.
Well, I travel a lot, obviously, my whole life. What I'm seeing now, which is a welcome thing, is people on airplanes with a real book.
Yes.
Not a Kindle, Schmindle, Blindle, whatever it's called. A real book. You own a real book that you own, that you have. And you underline things or you put markers in it. It's the same with having a real album. Kids are sick of Spotify. The guy in Spotify gave himself a raise. He now makes $240 million a year. He plays my music, and for every 100 plays, I might get 2 pennies.
Ugh, I hate that.
It's ridiculous. The rip-off of how they're ripping us off again and again and again.
Well,
it's terrible.
At least radio all of these years paid our fees, you know, and the dues that we needed to for artists all of these years of playing fantastic classic rock here at KSHE 95. Well, Randy, I won't keep you very long. I do want to highlight that next year I read that you and Burton Cummings are going out on the road. Can you shed any light on that as well?
We are going on the road, and I talked about classic rock bands going on, but there are some rock bands that are impersonating, and that's what was happening with us. They were on stage. We had fans sending us emails saying, we drove 300 miles and took our kids and grandkids to see our favorite band, the Guess Who, and here's them on stage saying they're you. They're saying how they wrote American Woman. They're so young, they weren't even alive when you wrote those songs
oh my
when
gosh.
we were teenagers. So we shut these guys down who were basically, they did own the name because they trademarked the name and we didn't know it was being done.
Wow.
And but they're impersonating, and it was fraud and impersonation and misrepresentation. That was an illegal shutdown that we shut them down. So Burton's finishing his touring now. I'm finishing my BTO. We've got one gig in Canada where we're premiering at the Fallsview Casino, brand new casino in Niagara Falls. Then we're doing the rock and roll tour on the boat from Florida with Gene Simmons and Paul Stanley, Cummings and Bachman as the Guess Who, Eric Burden and the Animals. It's sold out already. It's like a 4-day cruise from Fort Lauderdale to Jamaica and back. And then when we get back, we're playing the Hard Rock Cafe there in Fort Lauderdale, which is the classic great rock place to play. And we're doing the Guess Who gigs with like 35 hit songs. And all my BTO stuff will be in there as well. So we are really, really enjoying this renaissance and the too old to die young logo. You know?
That's awesome. Well, congratulations on the tour so far. Like I said, you will be in town this Saturday, August 30th, at the Family Arena, which is a fantastic venue here in St. Louis with classics bands, Zebra and April Wine, and then, of course, Bachman-Turner Overdrive. Randy, it is always such a pleasure to talk with you. You always keep it real, and I hope the rest of the tour is great, and good luck next year with Bert. Yeah, we hope to see you this weekend, and thanks for calling in to KSHE.
Thank you, and thank you for such a long time at KSHE. We appreciate you.